don't give away your time right away for two reasons. Your time is your one non-renewable resource. You can't get it back. And so it is the most valuable. It is more valuable than money because that can grow. You can multiply that, but you can't multiply your time. So don't give away your time because it is your most valuable resource unless people are already at a high level with you. You can give away your time to your prospects and your existing clients. I'm not saying you shouldn't do sales calls, but it shouldn't be the main call to action. And here's the number two reason why. If I'm in front of the room and I'm on stage and I was like, here's all this value, book a 30-minute session with me, your enrollment will go down to single-digit percentage. Because guess what? We just met. I don't know if I want to go on a date with you. I need to scroll through your entrepreneurial Tinder for a while and see if I like you.
Welcome to the Spotlight Session. It's a game-changing interview series that showcases award-winning agency owners to share secrets of starting and scaling a marketing business.
Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of our HighLevel Spotlight podcast, where we bring in high-level users from our ecosystem that are using HighLevel in their day-to-day for their business and to serve their customers. In these episodes, we tend to get a little geeky, a little inspirational, and everything in between, because we want to make sure you are aware of what you could be doing with HighLevel for you and your customers every day, because there's always something new. We'll be talking a little bit about some automations, some strategy, but more importantly, how to give away stuff for free to get people to know, like, and trust you. I want you to help me welcome here, if you're tuning in on YouTube or on our Facebook feed, Miss Marianne Hickman. She's a speaker on many stages, as well as a high-level user. She leverages the platform and her gift to speak to others and to inspire, but also to bring them to where they want to be to grow their business. What's most exciting here is the episode we have set up aside here is everything to do with using the tech and the strategy. Marianne, thank you for joining us here. It's a pleasure to have you, and exciting.
Thank you so much. It's an honor to be here. And I love that this topic is man, we almost didn't use Go High Level, and we'll get into that maybe, but I have just been so grateful for this tool. And it seems like at the end of every day, we're like, oh, Go High Level can do that. Go High Level can do that. It's just I'm going to sound like a broken record, but I just have to say thank you to the forces. I know it took hundreds of people that put this together because it's worked miracles for us.
Yeah, and that's a great segue into what we're going to be talking about, how you use HighLevel and how you use it for your business, but also for your customers, and pretty much how to really make this machine work for you. So for all of you that are tuning in, let us know where you're tuning in from. Are you within the States? Are you out of the area, the country? Let us know where you're tuning in from. But I want to speak to you today about our topic. Our topic is how to leverage HighLevel to give away stuff for free and still win. And in today's episode, we're going to be breaking down into 3 simple but powerful steps that Marianne's going to be sharing through based on her hands-on experience strategy, which is visibility, delivery, and conversion. So I'll be unpacking those 3 topics throughout the episode, and we're going to be sharing on how you can start this right away for you. Marianne, for those that haven't had a chance to meet you yet, we're going to be talking about this visibility, deliver value, and convert. Could you share a little bit about your back-end story, how you got into speaking, and how you got into speaking, coupling it with technology?
Oh, yeah. And I got to tell you, that was not how it started. I was a speaking idiot when I first started out speaking. I have to thank Mrs. Wilson. She was my 7th grade teacher, and she put me into a speaking competition with a local club. It was the Optimist Speech Club, right? And I got in there. I won first place when I was like 12, and then I went on to regionals and won. And then the most impactful moment happened when I lost at state. What's crazy is, and you know this as a business owner, we don't learn very much when we win all the time. We have to lose in order to get traction. We have to lose in order to learn new stuff. And that's really what makes us grow. So I took that experience and honestly forgot about it for probably 2 decades. I didn't think speaking could be a career. I didn't know how to tie it in with business. I didn't know how to use tech at all. Self-proclaimed tech tard, if I can say that, right? I didn't know anything about it. And then I went to a seminar one day, as many entrepreneurs do. I went to an event one day, I was inspired, right? And the speaker on stage was doing such a phenomenal job. And I got this, like, there's this kick in the chest that we as entrepreneurs get when we see something and we're like, I'm supposed to do that. not be them, but I'm supposed to do that. That's my calling. And I didn't know how to do it, but the speaker just said, start speaking in your living room. Just invite people over and start speaking in your living room. So I did. And the first keynote that I delivered, I invited all my friends and family, and 0 people came. Nobody showed up, not even my husband. Like, everybody was out, right? I delivered the speech anyway. And then the next time people came, there were 3 people. My husband at the time came, and they had 3 people. And then I kept going, and I kept pushing through the resistance. And then as I got into more of a career, it's about 10 years ago now, I started noticing this common thing with speaking. I remember watching in a seminar, and the speaker was at the front of the room, and he said, hey, I made this cool thing. I've delivered value for 3 days. I made this cool thing where I've taken everything that I've delivered to you and I've put a magnifying glass on it. It's a DVD set. Now I'm dating myself. It's $300 in the back of the room. And I watched. I didn't go back and buy it, but I watched about 300 people go to the back of the room, and they swiped their credit cards for 300. And I was like, well, I'm not a mathematician, but 300 times 300 sounds like a lot of money to me. And that just happened in 3 minutes. What on earth? How did that happen? So I started learning about how to take the audience and give them so much value. And the 3 steps we'll talk about today, but convert them into things that everybody wins with. This isn't sleazy, skeezy sales. Everyone's over that. We're tired of this. This is, I would rather have what you have than the money in my pocket. So please, like, exchange it for me. And so then I got into this. People started asking me, when I was on stages so often, how do you do this? How do you speak? How do you move an audience? How do you get the room to move together? And how do you inspire people? So once you're asked one thing enough times, you start to teach it, right? And I started to teach this, but this end call to action is what most people were missing. You get really inspirational speakers, and they get up and they do amazing work for 20, 30 minutes, and then it's done. And then this moment comes where they just walk away, and the audience is clamoring for more. They've looked them up on Instagram. They want to follow them. They want more of their world. And inexperienced speakers, or maybe even some experienced speakers, they miss this spot where they're able to capture all of the people that want to be with them through this free giveaway and turn that into amazing dollars. And most people that want to get paid to speak, they make this huge mistake. They think paid to speak means huge speaker fees. And those can be fun. Don't get me wrong. It's fun to take a $15,000 check for speaking. But you know what's even more fun? Taking a $300,000 check for speaking, because you were able to serve the audience to the capacity. And this is the end phrase of it all. The more you can serve, the more you're going to get paid. In other words, the check that you get is a direct proportion to the amount of value that you're putting out there.
So episode is how to leverage HighLevel to give away stuff for free and still win. But it looks like we got a little remix here, how to put out an offer that people want to pay a premium for as well.
Absolutely.
Right? So let's talk about one of the 3 pillars here, which is the visibility component. You had shared briefly here, putting it out there, making it visible, making it available is key. And we all know that no one can buy from you if they don't know who you are, right? So obviously, if you're on a webinar, you're at an event, you're, building a brand for yourself, you're visible. How could we be using the free giveaways as a powerful way to keep that attention or increase the brand visibility? And I know you'll be unpacking a lot of stuff, but I want you just to keep in mind here that our audience could be, super sales and strategic and maybe not techie. And then the other end, which is they're super techie and they maybe lack a little bit of sales and strategy. So if you can keep both in mind as you're sharing some of your action items and strategies, the audience will really appreciate it below.
Okay. Yeah. Well, we want to make sure that if you're listening, you're getting like huge loads of value. My goal is to give you the most value per minute of your entire day by being here. So we're going to pack it in, right? So here's the first thing you got to do is this visibility component. And I will say that, John, podcasts, the #1 place to be. And here's why. Podcasts are one of the top growing platforms that are consumed by qualified buyers. The average person that listens to a podcast, I did the research, studies show the average podcast listener owns their home and they live on a higher pay scale. So they make over 6 figures, which tells us that, guys, listen, if you want to speak to a qualified audience, your ideal audience should be able to afford your product, right? Unless they can afford your product, they're not your ideal audience. So podcasts are a fantastic way to get in front of people. And not only that, think about this. Back in the day when newspapers were thrown at your front door every day, these reporters, they needed a story every day. They needed something new to print every day. Well, guess what? Podcasts need the same thing. We as hosts, we need guests. We need compelling guests. We need interesting guests. And we need it on the regular because we're producing this show and we have no intention of stopping. So as a speaker, as a business owner, as anyone that is passionate about what you do, what you need to be doing is finding shows and getting on them. And I found this formula from my friend Kimberly, who's amazing. And she said, half the shows that you appear on should be your shows that your ideal target audience listens to, right? Then the other 50% is split into 2 parts. And the 30% of that last half should be shows that are experts like you, experts in your industry, right? So John's an expert in the industry. I'm an expert in my industry. This is a perfect episode for that. The last 20% should be your niche interests. So I like hobby farming, right? I like to have my goats. I like to have my chickens. My dog had 11 puppies. I would go on podcasts that are all about hobby farming, right? And talk about public speaking and maybe I'll find some next customers there. So what we're doing is getting on a show, talking about what we love for 30 minutes to an hour, which really makes it easy. You don't have to have a keynote ready. You don't have to be super good at sales. You just have to be able to talk about what you love. And that's really easy. And then at the very end of your show, and it's a really good idea to talk with your host about this and make sure you're all thumbs up, ready to go. But at the end of your show, it's really good to have something to give away so that people can come into your universe. They say, oh my gosh, I really love John. I need to get into his universe. Does he have an ebook or does whatever he talked about? Can I download more of it and read it at my own time and my own leisure? And then we're connecting because now I can send you newsletters that don't fill up your junk box, your email box with spam. Nobody wants that. I want real value that's consumed and enjoyed, emails that get responses. Yeah. And when you nurture your audience enough, now we can get to the sales mind of, and this is the part, I ran a sales floor for a multi-million-dollar company for 5 years. I ran their sales department. And I got to tell you, my favorite leads were the leads that said, I've done all my research. I've been listening to you for years. I know what I want. Can you sell it to me, please? Here, take my money. The worst kind of leads were, I call them and they're like, who is this again? Where are you calling from? I don't remember that name, right? That's no fun. But when you can just give and give and give and give, and so the people say, okay, I'm not getting enough traction on my own. I need you in my life. How can I pay you to do this? Those emails where I get, do you do one-on-one coaching? Can I buy that from you? Those are my favorite people because the know, like, and trust is already built up.
Yeah, it reminds me of growing up, whether I would go to the circus, go to seeing the monster trucks. I was always excited right before I buy maybe the program, right? Or my parents would buy me the program. You buy the popcorn. There's this entertainment aspect where, similar to going to an event that maybe you're speaking at, people buy the ticket, they buy the outfit, they get themselves for their travel. It's the whole immersing yourself in the topic or in the theme of the convention or event. And then after, you're like the keynote, right? Like the keynote's there for a reason. They promote the keynote. They're sharing the speakers for visibility. So you show up, you feel like you got your money's worth thus far. Then you start hearing these amazing speakers and you're like, all right, I'm going to make my way back to the back of the room and find out what do they have to buy, whether it's maybe swag, memorabilia, or maybe signing of a book, buying a book. People want something when they're attached. And sometimes I feel, Marianne, that there are some speakers out there or folks that are in the industry that are like, I don't want to sell anything because I don't want to come off salesy, or I don't want to come off, right, as if people have to buy to be connected with me. But how else will they be connected? I mean, it's not like they could randomly just text you and expect a reply.
Unless
They want to connect, right? Yeah, except at HighLevel if they go to the chat widget. But other than that, they want this professionally welcomed reason to connect.
Well, and don't we all want a sense of belonging to something?
Oof.
Right? Don't we all want to be a part of something that's bigger than ourselves? This is going to sound really crazy and probably controversial, but I read this once in a book and it really hit me that people go to bars and to churches for the same reason. They
Mm.
want to feel enlightened or have their lives changed in some way. They're looking for some kind of soothing or some kind of comfort. And when you create something that heals something in someone, and I don't know if we want to go that deep, but really I haven't worked with any speakers that at the end of the day don't save a life somehow. Even down to the point where I've got one of my members, he teaches financial security for couples. And I'm
Mhm.
just thinking, like, what are the top reasons people get divorced? Right? Money's right up there. What are the top reasons? And I just, God bless everyone listening. What are the top reasons that people make their birth certificate expire? If you pick up what I'm putting down, it's because they can't provide. That's one of the very, very, very top reasons. So if you're in business and you want to convert and you have this altruistic thing and you're passionate about what you do and you should, then your business deserves to be funded. That 401(c)(3) deserves to be funded. Anything worth building deserves to be funded. And I get it. I mean, we don't want to come off salesy. No one wants to wake up first thing in the morning and say, "Oh, I can't wait to be pitched to today." Nobody says that. Like, it just doesn't happen. But people want stuff all the time. Think about all the Amazon transactions that happen every single day. Think about all of the online shopping that happens every single day. We pay for stuff all the time, but we don't feel pitched to or strong-armed, or I guess the raw word for it is manipulated, when we exchange, when we would rather have that thing than the dollars in our pocket. That's we feel like we're winning.
Yeah.
It's so valuable to us.
I agree. And, I think it's important to the perspective you shared with a sense of belonging. I mean, that it people are paying for the circle, whether they're in it or around it or near it, in order to get where they want to get to. So, you know, taking what you've gone deep into and sharing the important why visibility is key. Could you start to, as we get into the next topic here with delivering value, how does visibility and the delivering of value help give people a reason to like you, right? Like you organically, not like you because your picture is the biggest one on the flyer, not like you because you have a look that attracts them, not like you because your name is cool, but more than anything, providing real value with what you have to offer from knowledge, from strategy, or what you're known for. And then how does that build trust and goodwill?
So this is a really good question. I want to share something that I used to share with my sales team. So there's a commercial that was made by a company, and they spent, I think the figure is $3 million on a 30-second ad. And what happens in this ad is there's no words. There's no words on the screen. There's no voiceover, nothing. And it's this beautiful woman and this handsome dude, and they find each other on this bridge at nighttime within the streets of Paris. Right. And as soon as they find each other, I'm getting goosebumps. They're
Mhm.
transported, like they're lifted off their feet magically. They start levitating. And then they go to the moon, and the moon is made not out of gray dust, but gold glitter. And they do this beautiful dance together where they're like pushing and pulling, and the tension is there. And there's this beautiful song that plays in the background. And at the very end of the commercial, the product is revealed for a half a second. And the reason that this sticks out to me so much is that the marketers for this product, they understand something. They're not selling perfume.
Mhm.
They're selling romance. They're selling seduction. They're selling sexuality in a very appropriate way. They're selling
Mhm.
relationships. They're selling a feeling, which is why you and I buy anything, is because we want to feel something, whether it's that sense of belonging, or whether it's a sense of fulfillment, or whether it's the feeling of finally being able to dust off your dreams and live them instead of letting them sit on the shelf for forever. We don't buy stuff to have the stuff. We buy stuff because it made us feel something. And that's the ultimate in what we're doing. You can't put a price on that. We're really buying energy, whether it's the energy of joy or whether it's the energy of relief or whatever it might be. That's why we make this exchange. And when you know your customers well enough to provide that for them without gatekeeping, by the way, there's a big difference between gatekeeping and product enrollment, where now I'm paying a price, right?
Mhm.
Gatekeeping is, well, I have it, and you're going to have to pay for it before I deliver it to you. And nobody wants that. Those people get unsubscribed and unfollowed 9 times out of 10. But the people that say, hey, you know what? Here it is in a 30-second snippet on Instagram. Here it is in an email. Here's as much as I can deliver you in an email. I'm going to pack this email or this podcast with as much value and applicable tips and real tools as I possibly can. Those are the business owners that last.
The delivering of value is the way you shared it in the story. It's a lot has to do with the story. A lot has to do with the narrative and the climax, right? And I think sometimes I feel like, you know, you've ran sales teams before, right? And your best salesperson could be the newest one that doesn't know everything as much as everybody else, that has this self created enthusiasm around the product, the delivery, the end result that it provides, the potential customers they're going to get to interact with. There's a sense of excitement and passion, and that is clearly translated by their tonality, their energy. To your point, that's what people are buying. Now, when we talk about software, right, and or coaching programs, or maybe high ticket items that sometimes are like, man, I don't know if people even could afford what I have. How do you recommend going about creating that product mentality around it? How do you make it easy for someone to accept the delivery of the information?
So the first thing you need to do is identify who you're talking to. And people, this has become a phrase, you say it enough times, it loses meaning. the ideal customer, right? That's been thrown around the internet so much, nobody knows what it means
agree.
Anymore. But it really is something, when you understand it, that you cannot do business without. And when I know my ideal customer, I know what they ate for breakfast. I know where they ate it. I know if their spouse was sitting next to them or if they weren't. I know what they complained to their best friend over a glass of wine over at 8 o'clock at night. I know what wakes them up at 2 a.m. And only when I know my ideal customer, and hint for all of us listening, it was you 5 years ago. When you know that, it becomes really easy to deliver value and to tell stories, because you're right. The stories are what really bring us together, because when I tell a story, and someone connects with it, they're like, oh my gosh, you get me. You understand what it's like to be up at 2 o'clock in the morning, and you missed your mortgage bill yesterday, and you've got 6 kids who are hungry, and you're trying to insulate them from financial distress because you don't want to pass down your financial baggage to them. And the water bill just came and it's about to be shut off. And yet you have to show up in front of all of your customers as if all of that isn't happening in the background and still deliver value. Yeah, I know what those nights are like. I know what those mornings are like. And so when it comes to, can I solve this problem for somebody else? First of all, you have to have a track record that says, yes, I solved that and I can solve it reliably. Second of all, you have to just give it to them. Now, here's a scale. Now, I'm not saying that entrepreneurs should just give everything away for free, because you don't run a charity, you run a business. So here's my scale for the portal rather, at which you should charge. I will teach you all day long how to do it for free. I will teach and teach. I will YouTube. I will podcast. I will do everything. I will do Instagram snips. I will do everything. And I promise you, you can't give it all away if you just teach. It magic happens. So you teach for free. The moment that it requires my time on a personal level with you, that's when compensation becomes the equilibrium. So if I'm going to do it with you, now I've got my low ticket items, right? The moment I start doing it for you, that's my highest ticket item. So I'm going to teach you for free, DIY for free. Done with you comes at a nominal cost. Done for you, that's your premium stuff. This is why we buy books. My book that I buy is a $15 done with you book, very low ticket, but we're going to sit down. You've got it. I wrote it all down. Here it is. And that's when it becomes very appropriate. And that's when these buyers, these people that know that you know them, when they consume everything, they're going to say, okay, Marianne, listen, I've consumed every YouTube video, I've read every email, and I'm doing all the things, but I need more. And that's when you know. That's when you know you create your next product, and that's when you know you've got your next customer.
So I want to unpack this because you got my head spinning so fast right now that this went from a short to a marathon right now. So uh, so we talk about delivering of the value. You touched on the book. The book is probably what some of our audience has. If you have a book, do you have a book already? Let us know in the comments below.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have your own book already, whether it's a PDF or hard copy, if it's a bestseller or it's just something I did because I wanted to put something out there and I didn't know how to market it? No big deal. Just let us know if you have one down there. Even if it's like a PLR and you tweaked it a bit, or if it's all written by you or a ghostwriter, it doesn't matter. Just jot down if you have a book with your name on it in the comments below. But let's say they don't have a book, Marianne. Could you give me some examples of what maybe you do? And I feel like I know the answer already, but the audience wants to hear from you. I mean, you know what I mean? Um, what are some examples of products that you put together to be claimed?
Okay. In the marketing world, we call these tripwires. I hate that terminology because it feels like Viet Cong and they're trying to like trap people, right? I hate it. Someone help me. Give me a new word for this. But it is a lead magnet, a tripwire. It just seems really like I'm a cat about to pounce on a mouse, but that's what it is. This is the thing that says, hey, guess what? We're in each other's world a little bit now. And by the way, if you're writing in the comments that you don't have a book, take 90 minutes, have ChatGPT interview you, and then tell it to put it in a book. It literally, I wrote 18 books last year for myself and others with this model. So there's your take home. If you do nothing else and you don't have a book, get that out there. That's so easy to do. Throw it into Canva if you want, make it pretty, put some lipstick on it, whatever you need. 90 minutes, have ChatGPT interview you, and then put it in a book. So number one, that can be it. But there's so many things that you can give away. So a lot of companies, and you'll see this on Instagram, on landing pages, a lot of companies do surveys. I just helped my friend create a survey in Go High Level. Amazing, that weighted the answers. So she has a survey on, let's do a health check for your marriage. So she created that, and then she emails the results to people with a diagnostic treatment plan, which is so cool. So surveys are fantastic. The other one are databases. I have a podcast database that I just give away, and I use emails for people to access it. So we stay connected through email. Another one could be, we talked about surveys, we talked about databases. Another one could be a one-page PDF guide. I wrote, when I went on a specific podcast, I didn't have anything that was specific to the audience, so I made one. And I wrote down a one-page family harmony guide for working moms who need to create harmony between work and family life. And it's just 5 steps, boom, 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 5 tricks that you can do. Newsletters are, I think, here's what I'll say about newsletters. If you do it wrong, you become white noise, right? You're just the spam filter that you don't want to deal with that. But if you do it right, and you really deliver value, and then you take your audience feedback and share those in the newsletters too. There are newsletters that I look forward to every single week. Jeff Walker, whenever I get his newsletter, I open it and I read it every single week. Whenever I get a high level update, I open it and read it every time it comes through because it's so valuable to my business. So newsletters are another great one. There's a million things you can do for a free giveaway. What I would hesitate to do, and let me say this.
Yes, please.
Here's what I wouldn't do out the gate. Don't give away your time right away for 2 reasons. Your time is your one non-renewable resource. You can't get it back. And so it is the most valuable. It is more valuable than money because that can grow. You can multiply that, but you can't multiply your time. So don't give away your time because it is your most valuable resource unless people are already at a high level with you. You can give away your time to your prospects and your existing clients. I'm not saying you shouldn't do sales calls, but it shouldn't be the main call to action. And here's the number 2 reason why. If I'm in front of the room and I'm on stage and I was like, here's all this value, book a 30-minute session with me, your enrollment will go down to single-digit percentage. Because guess what? We just met. I don't know if I want to go on a date with you. I need to scroll through your entrepreneurial Tinder for a while and see if I like you. So like, let's not hook up on the first date, right? Let me consume more of your stuff before, as a consumer, I spend my valuable time with you. So I would shy away from that one if you're speaking in front of a brand new audience that doesn't know you very well, because nobody will want that yet.
So you gave some action items, and if somebody were to Google you, they go to your website, and they start opting into stuff, they're gonna see that you're like everything you're saying, it's like you do it already, which is, I didn't know you before, right? I knew you were a customer of ours, but we receive requests all the time from people from all over, and it's nearly impossible to interview everybody, although everybody has their perspective, their superpower, and they could be very helpful to others. But, as I was doing my research, my due diligence, I'm like, oh wow, like she is definitely a high level user. I'm seeing the pings and dings and, oh, text, like, you know what I mean? And that's what made me feel, and I even got a bunch of your PDFs, and I was like, okay, I see where this is going. This is awesome. And, for me, with what you shared with delivery of value, right? Like, I feel like today, Marianne, people are getting information from email and direct opt-ins of different PDFs and different, gated content versus just going to Google and typing in a blog.
Mhm.
I remember when I used to go to Google and I used to type something in, I would get like maybe some Wikipedia and some other like good blog sites, but I feel like those are like diluted today. My personal opinion. The best content is the gated content, the PDFs, the more relevant, right? Where people are, it's exchanging time for money.
Mhm.
Right. Any time that you put your name, phone number, email in, and you know that there's going to be some sort of ask for money, the content's usually better than you just getting it from some random site online.
Oh
So
yeah.
thank you for sharing like those action items. And for those of you in the comments, what are you going to do today to put together your actionable giveaway item to say, hey, opt in here and I'm going to give this to you, whether it's a PDF, a Google Doc, a Notion doc, whatever cool factor you want to use.
Now, I like that you said that. I'm a big action step person. In fact, I run an accountability group, and this is what we do. And guys, if you want to do this and get an accountability buddy, you might have some laughs, but you'll get stuff done. So check this out. There's this formula that John is talking about. Number one is the first inspired step. What is the number one thing that you know you must do before you go to bed tonight, before you lay your head down to your pillow? What do you know you need to do? It's likely the thing that you've been avoiding, whether it's writing that book or going into Canva or whatever it is to get your lead magnet tripwire. Help me out with this name here. Your stuff, your value ready, right? Do it. Take 15 minutes and do it. And now watch this. If you get an accountability partner, you can call in your spouse, you can call in your buddy, your business partner, tell them that you have to do this before you go to bed, and then watch what happens. This is going to sound crazy. Watch what happens when you put your eyebrows on the line. Here's what I mean. Hey, accountability buddy, if I don't spend 15 minutes on my book, I have to shave off my eyebrows. Guess who's going to get their book written?
That's pretty
It's amazing what
daring.
happens.
I'm not going to let anyone I know hear that, because next thing you know, they'll be threatening to pull my eyebrows out for every little thing they need to get done. Hey, John, you got to get the dishes done. You got to take the dog for the walk. Or put your eyebrows on the line.
If you're not willing to put your eyebrows on the line, then don't say you're going to do it, man. That's integrity
Oof,
right there, bro.
I love that.
You're
Go
like
ahead and throw
protecting
it.
him. That's so good.
Yeah, throw that in the chat. Put your eyebrows on the line. And, Marianne, you're, from what I've got to notice and learn from you, you're very heavy on notes. Like, you are very organized, and you teach this and you share this. And for someone that's not good with their words, for someone that's not good with the execution, could you share a little bit of how you incorporate some note taking, whether it's note cards, whether it's having a side part of your screen, a task list? How do you incorporate that outside of always putting your eyebrows on the line to get the job done? Because what we're going to be talking about next, and you could weave us into this last bullet point here, which is all about converting.
Yep. Yeah. So the question is about like task organization and how do we remember to do stuff?
Without threatening the eyebrows every day, what are some things that
Ah.
you do? Right? Because I don't want to be responsible if someone doesn't get it done for whatever reason, they lose eyebrows now.
Oh, that's up to them. They can pick a different consequence if they want to. But you know what? This is okay. I've gamified it.
Okay.
Actually, it's someone else has gamified it for me. So I have all the back end stuff that helps me execute, but not all of that's worthless unless I'm willing to sit down and do it, right?
Yeah.
So I have this is going to sound so silly, John. You're going to make fun
Mm.
of me and you're like, you're using Tamagotchi for this, really? Um, I downloaded an app that I put my daily checklist in, and it's seriously, my checklist is spend 15 minutes writing emails, and thank you, Go High Level, for the pre-scheduling feature, because that is a lifesaver. And then spend 15 minutes organizing and cutting clips, and then spend 15 minutes with this, and then clean up the dog poop in the dog crate, and like that goes on there too. And all of this goes on a list, and that I use this app to push the button when I'm done, and then it does this little jingle and gives me fake money that I can go into the fake store and buy fake decorations with. It's seriously a Tamagotchi app. And I do it with my kids, and there's my friends have it with me, and it made it fun. It made the stuff that I have to do fun. So every time I'm scooping doggy poop in the doggy kennel with this 11 puppies that we had, I'm like, I get to push the button and get some fake gemstones for this. This is great. So it's not only the gamification, we should make it fun, but also if it's a priority for us, it should go on the calendar. Block off your time like you're having a meeting with the president. Don't let anything else encroach on that time. Date night goes on my calendar and nothing else happens during that time. If we had tried to schedule this podcast on a Thursday night, I would say, hey, listen, I would love to do the episode, but I got to do it another time because that time is reserved. So this, back to the most valuable gift that you've been given, which is your time. Block it off. Use it intentionally. Let me give you a hack. We're talking about value per seconds here. A hack that I use. Whenever I take on an assignment and I say yes to something, I put it on my calendar twice, which means I put it an hour before the deadline on my calendar. And then I put it another time before that. So I have both time to execute the task and time to report in on the task. So block it off on your calendar twice, some time to do it and some time to report in on it. So that way, if you're running late, you have a heads up.
Yeah, I think the timing on the calendar, right? I think you touched on it earlier, right? Making the time is carving out the time, and then that takes time to plan the time, right? So if you know what you want to do before you put your head down for tomorrow. And a lot of very successful, speakers and entrepreneurs, they share this in different remix versions, but they have some sort of notebook where they're writing it down with ink, not just typing it out in their to-do. They're not just using a fancy technological type of feature. They're using a legal pad. They're using a notebook that they always carry with them because that's never going to fail. But I think that never fails because it's become a habit.
Yeah.
So, we always carry the phone, but I'm not going to lie to you. Like, I don't always look at every previous note or task that I've done. I am looking at the paper that I'm flipping over because it gets pretty big after a while. So
true. I have mine right over there.
Yeah. And I thank you for just breaking down what you're doing, right? Because, as our guest, you're sharing examples and people get inspired to at least create their remix version. So sharing the visibility, we need to be seen. We need to have a good structure of how we're going to put ourselves out there, our product. For all of you here, whether it's your SaaS, your consulting, your coaching, your business origination features that you're doing for new people getting started, whatever it is, it fits you well. Then you mentioned delivering value, which is creating the small products that could be done with you, whether it's read through it, take action on it. It's the physical where they could print it or see it. And then the time stays reserved. So don't just put a bunch of booking appointments available to have your time booked. That's sacred for more of a done for you, which is a higher ticket item. Correct me if I'm wrong, or if I'm missing anything that is super important to make sure we include. And all of that creates a real valuable offer, whether it's free, affordable, or out of the ordinary. But that also builds the trust. And then now we talk about converting, right? We have all these two different elements out there. So once we built the rapport, it's time to identify which of these leads are ideal customers based on what they downloaded, but also what action they're willing to take now, whether it's claiming they're done for you, done with you. Could you share a little bit on how you bring high-level tech into this?
Oh, yes. I was excited for this part. And we really need to bring my husband in for a whole separate episode because he's the nerd.
At this point, if there's more than you and you got if the kids are the same, we're bringing the whole family in here. Right? Everybody gets a chance to share their expertise. This is and audience to those that are tuning in, please jot down some questions that you may have. I'm trying to cover everything here. This is definitely a lot to unpack, but please let us know in the comments what you're looking for more to receive. But go ahead, please share
Well,
how you use the tech.
I just got to share this real quick because my husband, and he doesn't like when I brag on him because I mean, I'm in front of the camera most of the time and he's like building everything in the back. But I got to tell you, so he was a digital forensic analyst way back in the day, right? To the tune of the FBI would call him when they had a case they couldn't crack and they had a hard drive that they couldn't get into. And he would be the ethical hacker because the contract,
Yes.
good guy,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
go in. And he used to use his powers like Batman. There are some people in jail right now because he produced the digital evidence that put them there. So as you can imagine, though, that life becomes extremely taxing on your soul because there's so much garbage you have to wade through to bring justice to these people. And so he did it for a while, but then when we got married and we started having kids and the 2 o'clock in the morning digital fires started, he's like, this isn't a practical job for a family anymore. So he took this digital prowess and now put it behind business. And we share a mission of to make good people crazy wealthy. So HighLevel is one of our top tools in doing that. And so when it comes to visibility and when it comes to, collecting and giving that value, and then it comes to conversions, this is where anytime I say I want a thing, my husband's like, I bet I could make it and go HighLevel. And I bet I can make a workaround. So once we deliver our product or our giveaway or our database or our PDF or whatever it is, then what he's done is set up HighLevel to start interviewing the prospect. He's like, hey, tell me why you downloaded this speaking guide, or tell me what you're hoping to get out of the database, or did you get the database okay? Let's just make sure that you got it and were able to access it okay. And then tell me a little bit about what you want to do. And we've integrated the AI with the Go HighLevel. It's so that it mimics my voice as much as I can. And what we did is we took all of my YouTube transcripts, fed them through ChatGPT. ChatGPT created a voice that we plugged back into Go HighLevel. So there's that magic, and Richard could probably explain it better than me. But the AI now says, okay, tell me about your business. Tell me about the stages that you're wanting to get on. Tell me about why you got this book. And it starts a conversation, not only in Go HighLevel, but also integrated with other apps. And then it spits out this, well, hey, do you want to grab a virtual coffee sometime? And we can talk about your business. And you mentioned that you want to serve your clients faster and your time to lead is really slow. Do you want to just go over that? And then either my husband or myself will take time, because now we got something to talk about, right?
Mhm.
They've downloaded the book. And to your point, maybe it's a free download, or maybe it's a $7 upgrade. Maybe it's a $20 upgrade. Maybe they there's like, yeah, I want this free thing, but I want the guidebook that goes with it. I'll pay $7 for that. Sure. Those are the most valuable leads because they've already opened their wallets and said they want to converse with us. So we'll talk to those people and we'll do the whole thing through Go HighLevel. We'll have the calls through Go HighLevel so that we can diagnose them and see where we did well and where we messed up. And then if it's a yes, then it's like, okay, cool. Let's do the billing through Go HighLevel. Let's send the invoice through Go HighLevel. And the beauty of this is, dude, listen, I have worked through CRMs like crazy. And I know I'm selling like a Go HighLevel salesman right here, but just run with me on this. I've run in.
But for the you are not endorsed by HighLevel,
I'm not.
right?
They're not paying me
You're
to
not
say
an
this.
affiliate of High, like you're just you, and
No.
you're a happy customer. And even when I connected with you, you're like, dude, I'm just happy to talk to other like-minded people. I'm excited for this.
Yeah.
And
Well,
that, and yeah, because to your point, you're a professional, and
mhm.
the last thing we want our audience to feel is if we asked you to do this or you feel obligated to do this. You're just the geek in it. You're seeing the
Big time.
result, and I think
And
that's so
thank you.
powerful.
I'm so glad that you clarified that. And I just want to
Yeah.
underscore this because I have effed up. When I worked at the sales company, do you know
Mhm.
how much the company was spending on communications a year? Just communications with different departments. The fulfillment department was using a different communications platform. The sales department was using a different one, and the marketing department, all different. $144,000 a year on different platforms just for communication. that didn't even include CRM. We were using Confusionsoft, if you remember what they, and then we were using Kajabi. And I don't want to throw any of these companies under the bus. They're fantastic companies. But I remember when we enrolled one of our latest members and we said something that we hadn't thought of with our members, and they just happened to bring it up. And they were talking about, when we teach public speaking, we include an instance of Go High Level because we want to actually help you make money with your speaking skills. So we were talking with them and they're like, oh, we're using ManyChat. Oh, we're using Kajabi. Oh, we're using this. And we're using probably 5 different subscriptions to the tune of $500 a month that they were paying. And I was like, listen, I mean, you can cancel all of that. You can bring it all into one central location. And the look on their faces, I'm not kidding you when I say that they literally told me it was an answer to prayer, because any entrepreneur that's bootstrapping their own business, we're watching every penny that goes out the door. And we're watching every penny as we try to bring it in the door. And if we can create a solution for people that is cost effective and, in my opinion, better supported. I remember I was on a call with one of the Confusionsoft people, and I was asking about a thing, and they were like, "Oh, I didn't even know you could do that." And I was like, "Dude, it's your software. Come on, my friend. I shouldn't know more about this than you." But it has been, and I have to tell you, it has been the thing next to podcasting that has taken our business, brought 6 figures the first year, and we're already 6 figures in our second year. Our business just started 2 years ago. And it has been the hugest blessing because not only does it solve problems for us, it solves the problems for our customers. So that's my rant on Go High
I
Level.
appreciate it. And if you're okay with this, people are going to Google you. There'll be some information below. They're going to go to your website. Could you share a little bit around the psychology and the systems, right? The psychology and the systems, from the chat widget on your page to the pop-up to what Richard has put together behind the scenes with the AI, to just being a 2-person operation, husband and wife, trying to build this up to be repeatable and to be profitable, and right to like figure it out pretty much how you go. What I'm assuming here is your main offer is your paid program to teach people how to monetize their knowledge, expertise, etc. So if you're a chiropractor and you want to start teaching to the masses, they would hire you and you would walk them through a proven framework, strategy, and include systems in it. Is that fair to say?
100%. Yeah. Yeah. There's
So
a formula that works.
So there's a formula that works, and perhaps they find you because you were a panelist or you were a fill-in speaker just by chance. You were in the area. Someone said, "Hey, you might come in here and fill in a spot. This event's really slow right now. We need a bolt of energy." And you just show up last minute. There's no promotion of you on the website. There's no promotion on flyers. You're just, a Batwoman that pops in and saves the event. And they put you on for 40 minutes and you say, I'm going to you dust off the presentation, right? Because this is a brand new crowd. And you say, I'm going to go with what's always worked. You get on stage, you do it. And now you have the audience leaning forward. They're listening. And now you have to drive them to your website. What could they expect after you get off that stage with the round of applause? Because you don't have anything in the back to buy. You have nothing in the back to buy because this was all spur of the moment here. It's not like you have the table with people with a credit card machine. You don't even have swag with you. You know what I mean?
Right.
So what does that look like for your website now? How does that become the cash register?
How did you know that this has happened? Like,
you seem like to be the perfect wing person to come in. Like, this event is not what it was supposed to be. I got people here about to ask for refunds. Help me save the day.
Oh my gosh. It's happened. I can count the times on one hand that has happened, but every time it's at the edge of your seat. It happened to me in New York. It happened to me down here at an event in Orem. It happened to me at a couple events in Provo. So it's crazy when that happens, and it's always a deep honor. The stage is such a sacred place. Speaking of time, when you're on the stage and you speak for 1 minute, you multiply that times 100 people in the room or 500 people in the room. That's 500 minutes. That's nobody can get back. And it's so sacred. So the next steps, when you were thinking about the marketing brain, a lot of entrepreneurs, They get into their business because they love what they do. And then they learn that they have to put on this marketing and fulfillment hat. And they're like, oh, I don't know how to do this. I didn't know I needed to learn how to be a marketer, or should I go back to college? No, 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 no. Forget all of that. All we need to do is remember what it's like to be the consumer. And what would I naturally do as the consumer? And this is true for public speaking. It's true for your QR codes that you throw up after you speak. If it's true, if you're just a call to action for a text or a website or whatever, is we need to just keep in mind. And I'm always improving this, by the way. Like I'm always taking feedback from my customers and saying, okay, that website didn't give them what they actually came there for, and so forth. So when, to answer your question, when I get on stage and it is a last moment and we get the audience going and there's a big hurrah and we deliver the value and now they're feeling it, right? We've sold, in other words, the feeling. It's there. We've got it. Then people come up to me afterwards and say, how do we get you to MC my event? Or how do I connect more with you? Or whatever it is. My simple response is I'm putting myself in their shoes and say, how do I create a real, genuine connection that actually serves? So my biggest thing is I use it through Go HighLevel. I say, text me. I've got my Go HighLevel number. I'm like, just send me a text. Let's connect. Let's chat. Let's talk. If I'm allowed to do a call to action from stage, or if I'm, doing it from stage, I say, go to my website. If this was helpful for you, go to my website, or whether, mariannehickman.com/database or mariannehickman.com/free gift, or whatever was relevant to the topic at hand. I'm like, go get it. Go download it. And this is the key. I want you to lean forward in your chairs right now and listen to this. If you've ever appeared on a podcast or if you've ever appeared on stage, this is what you got to do. Most people mess this up. And they leave relationships on the table. They leave customers without their products and their company without their revenue if you mess this up.
No pressure. No pressure, Marianne. Like, I'm like, do I get a notepad at this point? I'm ready.
This is the part where we don't be distracted by anything else. When you do what's called your call to action, right? And you're going to give your stuff away. The biggest mistake that any presenter on a podcast or a stage can make is treating their call to action like they're afraid to pitch it. Mm-hmm. Instead, if you have a QR code, or you have a database, or you have a phone number or a website, you've got to give your audience time to go get it. And collectively, we as the audience members, we have the competence of 5-year-olds because none of us want to mess up. So we move really, really slowly. So when you throw your QR code up, exactly. You're going to say, everyone pull out your phones and show me your phones. Show them to me. Once you get 85% of the audience, you're going to say, now go to your phone. You're going to walk them through step by step. Open up your camera. Don't take a selfie. Just open your camera, right? Don't go to Instagram. Just open your camera. I know our muscles are trained to autopilot. Now, hold up that camera to that QR code. When it does, you've got a little yellow button that says open up in Chrome or Safari if you're old school, right? Click on that button. Now it's going to take you to a page where it's a pop quiz, but you know all the answers. Your name, your phone, your email. Put that in. Raise your hand when you're done. And once you have 85% of the hands up in the room, you're going to say, now you should get an email with that book or that database or whatever it is I promised you. Raise your hand, keep them both up if you got an email notification. And guess what's happening? One, they have time to do it. Yes. They're not missing out on the presentation because you didn't gloss over it. Two, they're looking around the room and they're seeing what's called social proof and confirmation bias. Oh. And they're looking around the room and they're seeing, oh my gosh, everyone is doing it. My brain says, this is what I call the purple car principle. If I look for it, I'm going to get a confirmation of it. So if I see the whole audience doing it, well, that means it must be a good idea. I'm going to hurry up and get this done. If you miss out on those steps, my friend, you're going to just leave so much on the table for people that actually want your things. Don't rob them by robbing them of their time.
Wow. Holy smokes. Type in the chat below purple car principle. And throw in there also social proof. The power in, here's what I'll say, and you've been very generous with your time, Marianne. MCs, hosts, keynote speakers, organizers, run a show, event planners, Everybody has a strategy, whether they learn it, they tweak it, they create their own. And it's nearly impossible to have everything perfect, even if you are meticulous with a check sheet and binders and an assistant and an assistant's assistant, right? Time is everything. And even if that was the case, the Emmys and all these other programs would never have any errors and everything would be perfect. But the power of what you just shared, of the most basic item, which for me would maybe feel, okay, why didn't I think of that sooner? But it might be insulting for someone else. Like, oh, I would never do that. Like, that is demeaning the crowd. Like, there's these different perceptions and perspectives and personal opinions, right? And I think it's fair enough to say, Marianne, that if somebody takes one or two items from each of these topics we talked about and make it your own, would you be okay with that?
Please do. I'm begging for people to do this.
All
Plagiarize
right.
everything. Guys, nothing I shared with you is original. All this information was around before I was born. I just remixed it. I'm going to steal John's phrase. I like that phrase. I just remixed it. So
I got
please
that
go
for somebody
remix
too.
it.
I don't know where I got that. I think I got it from like growing up back in the day. It was like a remix. I never liked the original song. It was the remix. You know what I
Right?
mean? But
Yeah, you got
look,
your own mixtape. Please go use this. I'm begging you. None of the, like, just, if, oh, I will put a qualifier on it though.
go for it. Close us
If
out
you,
with it.
dude, okay, so here, I'll do this. We built this studio here in our basement, and on the studs on the wall, when we were building this thing, we put our mission statement. Here's our mission statement.
Mhm.
We want to put good people on 1,000,000 stages and help them make $1 billion doing it. And there's the good people qualifier. If your mission is in any way unkind, if it is in any way detrimental to families, if it is any way erosive to society, I cannot back your message and I cannot help you. But if you are a good human and you want to leave people better than when you found them, and your mission is centered on something to the core of your beliefs that you believe in that makes humanity better, starting with your home and your family and all the people that are important to you, then that's a mission I can get behind. And I want you to use this 100%. And I know I can't control it, but I will put it out there to say we are on a mission to make good people crazy wealthy.
Marianne, thank you so much for hanging out with us here, being our guest, sharing fun, actionable items. I mean, it's we couldn't put this together even if we tried to plan the way it came out. So thank you for just running, running through the flow here and giving the people what you believe they want the most, because you've been on multiple stages and you've been a spectator at other people's events. So I appreciate you bringing that oomph with us here. And to our audience, thanks for hanging out with us. If you haven't had a chance to watch this full episode, go to the beginning, look up Marianne Hickman on Google, find her on her website. It's her full name. How do they find you? I mean, what's the best way to find you these days? How do they go through your whole experience?
Well, I am most active on Instagram. So you can go to Instagram, Marianne Hickman. I have a pretty unique name. But that's the best way to find me. If you want any of the stuff that I offer, it's on my website. You can go to mariannehickman.com and just go use all the stuff I put out there. That's why I put it out there. Go get on podcasts, go get on shows, get my book on how to use the podcast database, because again, my husband and I have teamed up to have this mission because we're raising a family of 6 kids on this planet and we need some other really cool people to be in their world. So go get it and make yourselves known.
Thank you for being a customer of HighLevel and just kind of opening up the vault and sharing how you're using this operating system like tool. And to our audience, if there was a nugget here that really stood out for you, let us know in the comments. Let us know how we did and what you appreciate the most. Marianne, we're going to connect again. We have a bunch of events coming up. I'm going to get you connected with our team and see what comes from this and many more. So thank you again. And tell Richard
John.
I said what's up. We got to get Richard on the show here too. He's the geek behind the scenes. He's the Batman. I love how I hope my wife calls me Batman. I mean, that was amazing. That is such like a great nickname. My husband's name's Batman. You know what I mean? That's all. All right, let's get out of here. Absolutely. We'll see you all later. And thank you again.